Hmm. Okay. Let's just take a quick look to see if this is streaming. It looks to be. Beautiful. Okay. So, first of all, welcome to our first. I just got a notification on my phone. Perfect. Of our first Doorkeeper card update stream. As you have probably already realized, I am quite new to the streaming process. So, this is going to be a lot of trial and error. But the goal today is to just, learn from this first experience. I don't think anybody's going to show up for this first one, but that's okay. I made a video earlier today on my kind of what was once my main channel, but is now my more sort of personal playground channel. And because we're only at 7 subscribers right now on this channel, on my other channel, I was at about 91. Wrong? Oh, thank you, Sophia. I very much appreciate you joining me. I thought you were in class, and yet here we are. So sweet. I guess it'll just be you and me, sweetie. Awesome. Cool. So as you can see, I have the Genghis Khan card up. I was just updating that. I recently just sort of worked out a nice little template here for the leader cards. You are not. Haha. Oh, geez. Oh, right. I forgot that there's like a weird time delay. And this is going to take me a second to like remember what I was even talking about. But all right then. Oh, right. I said that you were in class. That's what it was. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay, cool. Sorry. So yeah. So first of all, this is not Adobe Illustrator for those of you who are quite perceptive. Those of you who have been longtime kind of subscribers to my other channel, you may know that I am a fan of the Affinity Designer program. I have a whole video on that other channel. I hope I can probably like redo that video and do something similar here. But on that video, kind of went through why I just sort of prefer Affinity Designer to Adobe Illustrator. The main one is really price. This Affinity Designer is a one-time payment of $50, and it's quite comparable in terms of all the different sorts of tools and features that to Adobe Illustrator. Of course, Illustrator is going to have like a ton more features, and there's not much I can really do about that. But Affinity Designer is constantly updating and has a really great sort of community input program, and I just really love everything that it can do. And there's even like a couple extra features and like just sort of logic behind the user interface that Illustrator doesn't have that I just really like about Designer. Again, Illustrator has more, but I would much rather pay like a one-time $50 purchase for Designer than like I think it's like $20 a month for students, right? And then like if you become professional, like you can probably afford whatever the normal cost is, but that's just simply not feasible for me. So we're just gonna mess around today. I'll probably just talk to myself for as long as I can. It's very weird to like talk to yourself for a sustained period of time. I'm starting to find out. But yeah, so I just sort of finished up this card here. It originally had a like level 4 once per turn effect of like once you summon a card, you can over summon, which in my game means you play for free, a card from like your hand or deck. So you could basically just search it and then play it onto the field. And then if you didn't have any remaining copies of that card in your deck, then like you could take cards from like your void, which is my game's equivalent of the graveyard, and put it into your hand. Oh, there we go. I was just messing with the brightness here because for some reason it was maxed out, but like it wasn't registering it as maxed out. That's much better. Sorry. So yeah, I wonder if that shows up on the stream. I'll have to look back at that later. But anyway, so here's kind of what the old or previous format looked like for these leader cards. It still has the whole kind of boost stat thing I was playing around with and just later abandoned. And of course, it has the 8 direction arrows as well. And that's again, of course, from the previous version of the game in which your leaders were actually on the board and would like move around and kind of acted like units and could become stronger and whatnot. But yeah, that is no longer how the game works, because now, of course, your leaders are sort of placed between the field and your kind of base, or just like your gate. And it sort of acts like shields between the two. And of course, we have this new little sort of order icon. I kind of like it. I really hope it translates well once I print it out. But it's supposed to just sort of symbolize like your leader is coordinating orders to like other people. And that's what these little like, you know, default Facebook profile icon looking guys are supposed to be. Over here, we have the elements, of course, that you can play. I haven't actually updated this card's border yet. Let's just go ahead and quickly do that. So this is not extremely efficient for storage purposes, but it is efficient for design purposes in this way that I like to sort of go about things, in that I like to have all the different sort of colors. Oh wow, I really buried this one. All the different colors, because there's 4 different colors in my game that cards will fall into. It's like colors with like a capital C, in that colors represent these sort of deities. They're referred to as the primas, as in primary. And they're like deities of the world of the game here. And as you can, of course, see, there's yellow, blue, red, and white. So I currently have it on yellow, because that was defaulted from the light, or as it's called in the game, lucent cards. Like King Arthur here, he has yellow for light, but also umbral, which is the dark element, falls under the yellow color as well. So as you can see, we just turn that off. And I have this border broken up actually in half, because I liked to have sort of like the leader card art over the top of the border up here, but like have the border kind of on top under there. It's kind of like a weird layers thing. I'm not really sure how much of that kind of makes sense for those of you who aren't used to working in these types of programs. Artists, you know, will of course be used to layers because that's just, or digital artists at the very least, but also like painters, you know, because painters have to sort of think of their art and like how these colors will mix together and what they look like when they dry, and just sort of like layering colors on top of each other to sort of like create new colors and create effects and create textures. And, you know, I'm at risk of sounding like an idiot, we're just going to stop on that tangent because I am not an experienced painter. But yeah, let's just tweak that. So yeah, that's nice and red. Perfect. And I'm liking the way that looks. Because again, the point of all these streams is to sort of work on updating all the cards here. And I have always had to like play around with sort of card layout and whatnot, just to sort of see what it is that works well, doesn't work well. And yeah, so cool. I think that was working well for me. So let's place that down here. We'll rename this to Qin, Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Cool, let's take out Genghis there. Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Something else I'm kind of a little nervous about is I know this text is kind of thin here, but I like to have it thin for the sort of dramatic difference. If I were to say like bold this for the like archetype names, let's see if like for King Arthur here, you'll notice that the knight is very distinctly bolded, and that's to show that it's part of the knight archetype. I also, of course, have knight down here as a little tab on the sort of class type breakdown and subtype or archetype sort of bar, just to be like, you know, major group, it's a unique card, which means you can only have one of it, with the exception of the territories that fall under that card. But basically like the unique type, card type, or card class rather, is a class of cards that just basically operate, differently from the game and sort of have their own level of priority in terms of like how valuable they are to you as a player. Of course, your leaders are arguably your most valuable cards in that if you lose all of your leaders, you lose the game. So, yeah. Going back here. Cool. Let's see. Cool, I spelled that right. And let's see if we can make that card art look a little nicer on here. I'm a little bit disappointed in like the new sort of card update. Not disappointed per se, but just, I guess, a little bummed that because I needed more room for the text box down here, it leaves less room for the card art that I've worked so hard to, bring to life here. Oh shoot, I forgot where I had to paste this. I think it's about here. We'll figure it out. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, because I can't really outline this text in white like I could with the other version, so we're just gonna have to make them smaller, which breaks my heart. But not too much, because this isn't a card art I'm like super proud of. But there's like lots of little details I like to throw in there. If I recall correctly, Mike, can I zoom? Thank you. If I recall correctly, I think this symbol meant like the family name for Qin Shi Huang. I have to look that up later. It's been a while. I did a lot of the card arts at least a year or two ago. I think this is kind of an earlier one, just based off of my artistic style. I have this sort of line art style in my cards, and for the older ones and some of the newer ones as well. But I'd really like to move away from this sort of line art style and more towards like a painterly sort of style, like a digital painterly sort of style. And I've been watching lots of videos on that, and I haven't really been practicing as much as I should be. For any artists who might be watching this, obviously not today, because I don't think anybody's watching this except for maybe Sophia, but she might have had to leave for class. Remember to practicing art is super important. I know it's like a super obvious thing, but it's like really vital in improving as an artist, and but you need to have very intentional practice. And I recommend sort of figure drawing, drawing from reference, and really learning a lot about human anatomy. You don't need to learn all the different names of everything per se, but yeah, you got me till 2:30. Oh, beautiful, sweetie. Thanks. We got another 40 minutes. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of talking. I think I'm just gonna shut up for a bit and focus on updating cards here. Cool. Grand Mausoleum? Is there a U there? Shoot. Oh no. Do I have to make you smaller now? I am sorry, Emperor Jin. It's nothing personal. Oh, what if I made this bigger down here? This is basically based off of one painting that I found. And then I had a lot of fun with little dragons on there. But I just liked kind of the pose that he struck. He was very regal and powerful, but also quite, contemplative with those little scratch in his kind of chin. Sorry, that was a bad pun. Let's see what we got here. So his ability is that once per turn, you can oversummon a Terracotta Warrior from your hand or unit deck. If this card is your passive leader, we no longer have that. So we're going to have to see. Double the movement cost for target player's movement orders when on Terra tiles under your control. Ooh, I kind of like that. Here, we're going to... Okay, so once per turn. That'll be his first little effect up here. Oversummon a... Ooh. Italicize Terracotta Warrior from your hand or unit deck. Okay, so we'll separate that out into the nice little once per turn part. And then let's make that, oh my. I think I have it at 135. Is that right? No. 150. And then this can be also 150. Ah, shoot. Let's see, what are these at? 157. Perfect. Okay, that's pretty close. So 157. And then we just bring that up. Nice. Okay. So as you can see, this is a very tedious process, which is why it takes me so long to do. And infuriates everybody who's involved on my team when I tell them, hey guys, I don't quite like the look of the cards. I think I'm going to do a big card update again. And they're like, oh boy, there he goes, spending another month on, oh, why is this not big enough? There we go. Another 2 months working on updating cards. But like, it's just really frustrating because, you know, obviously, I don't know how far this game's going to go. I'd like to take this game as far as I can, of course. And I would really like to, oh, is that an O or a Q? There we go, that's a Q. Nice. Oh, that's why. I don't know why it doesn't know his name. Shoot, what's it talking about? Oh, right. Card. Yeah, because like the look of the card, I hope this is like iconic enough that people can like look at it and be like, wow, that is a card for Doorkeeper. And I'd really rather not have to like redo this card format. You know, maybe like small tweaks and whatnot, but I think this is pretty final, you know? We worked pretty hard to find something because like it's so frustrating to try and figure out how to, first of all, like improve what you already have. You know, not that you ever think that like, oh, this is the best it can be. It's like the opposite. It's like I don't feel that this is the best I can do. Like, how do I improve this? And there's just, of course, there's like an infinite way or infinite amount of ways to, you know, improve your art, which is one of like the very frustrating aspects of like being an artist or being a creative type in general, is that you, I don't want to say like you always feel inadequate. That's not quite accurate, but it's like there's no objective standard. I mean, there are like objective rules in art. A lot of people don't understand that. They think it's like just random subjectiveness, but that's not quite true. There's like a lot of interpretive aspects to it. But, you know, like with like math, you know, like there's like a very clear cut, like this is the right answer. And there might be like a couple different ways on how to get to the right answer. But like at the end of the day, you know, either the equation balances out or doesn't. But with art, it's like, does this feel right? Do these elements look well when like positioned next to each other? And then there's one of the most frustrating elements for me personally is that there's like a point where you get very far into the field and like you learn lots and lots about, you know, the principles of design and composition and color theory. And then like you think that something looks really cool. And then like you may even share it with your artistic peers and they will agree with you. And they're like, yeah, dude, like this looks awesome. But then you share it with like the public, and the public has like a different sort of appreciation for art than, you know, like your fellow artistic colleagues. And you're just sort of at like a weird position where it's like, do I make this art so that other people who like, you know what they're talking about will appreciate it? Or do I design this in a way that it makes sense to the average consumer that I'm selling it to? And I think that's kind of why I'm still a novice, in that I don't know how to answer that question. So yeah, I know I said I was going to shut up and work for a little bit, but I just had to go off on that tangent for a while. Let's see. Okay, so I think this first effect is going to be once per turn, and then the second effect is going to be like an auto Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I will say, or maybe a conditional. No, that's fine. We'll say enemy. Enemy units that enter. I might have to replace that. We'll just put that in brackets for me to come back to later. Territories that you control. Let's see, I don't know. Maybe, because the idea with the other effect was that I could mess with the movement, the movement cost. Oh, you know what? Yeah, here. That's what we'll do. We will say territories, or I guess territories, territories that you control have a movement cost of 2. And what that means is that normally a territory costs like 1 sort of movement to enter, but now this is doubled. So that'll be very annoying for your opponent. I should probably specify that. This cost does not apply to legions that you control. Cool. Okay, let's balance that out. Nice. I like that. Cool. So I think I will have a little Terra icon right there. Center this a bit better. I think right about there should do it. Yeah, I like that. Okay. There's this new update on Affinity Designer where when you click on an item, especially like if it's in a group, it'll sort of like isolate it the more you click on it. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because on the one hand, it's nice that it automatically goes to the item that you're looking for. But on the other hand, it expands the selection a lot more. So I have to like go back and collapse all of these, which is really not like a huge problem. It's just kind of annoying. But I think for now, I'm going to go with that I like the usefulness of like being able to find where the item is. Because like if you have, you know, hundreds of elements in the little kind of list over here of everything going on, like it's easy to sort of lose where things are. Because usually it'll light up. Because like the previous sort of version was just, it would sort of light up in the sort of highlighted, oh, that's still in the group. I got to click on this. There we go. Where it would light up this kind of blue color to signify that like, hey, you know, this is where the item is that you clicked on. And yeah, and I don't know, that was always just kind of good enough for me. So it's still like a pretty recent sort of update. So I'll play around with it and see if I like it. And let's put a little drop shadow on that. Ooh, looks like I already had one. Good on me. And let's shrink that down a bit, even though it's already kind of small. How does 27 look? 27 looks okay. Let's line that up. 27 looks pretty decent. I think I'm going to improve, or it's already at 7. Let's make that like a 7.3. It's pretty subtle. Perfect. So that gives me a little bit more room so that it doesn't feel like all my text is right on top of everything else. Just a touchdown. And cool. I think that works. Yeah, so let's see. I think I had this ability. It was like probably a level 4 or a level 3 and level 6. What do I have? You have a level 3. It gets both of that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a more irritating ability. So we'll just kind of keep it at like 4. We can keep this at like 3. I think that's pretty reasonable. Because Terracotta Warriors are like pretty weak. But they are very useful in that they're like really cheap. And they have Swarm, which is a really fun mechanic that I thought of, where like you can have as many copies of the card as you want in your Legion and in your deck, because most card games have that whole like you can only have 3 copies of a card or whatever. I think some even go up to like 4. For right now, our limit is 5 copies of a card per like deck, but we might have to lower that after some, further play testing. But for right now, we're just going to keep that. And cool. So yeah, it's been at least like a half hour that I've been working on this, and I promise that I do work a little bit faster than this. As you noticed, I was getting very distracted just because I was trying to make this a little bit more entertaining for you guys than just me clicking loudly and moving things around. So I do appreciate you guys listening to my rants. And yeah, cool. So I think that actually is going to do it for the Terra element. Let me just make sure I copied over everything I want before I delete this. Yeah, that's good enough. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I did like the whole black background, white text look of the leader cards, especially since it contrasted well with the normal cards that were like the white sort of background for the text effects or text effect boxes. There we go. And like the black text on top. But I really just like the idea of using sort of like color coded effects. So like red is for once per turn. It's not just like the little tab. It's the whole sort of effect thing. Because I've played card games where like if you read into the effect a little bit more, it's pretty obvious, but it's not like readily apparent at what point or how many times you can activate a certain effect. And I think it's just easier for new players to just be like, whoa, there's, because like at first they'll freak out and be like, whoa, like there's like several different colors for these different effects. Like when does it trigger? How often does it trigger? Like, what does that mean? But then like they just like take a second to be like, hey, there are specific sort of symbols associated with this. This is like a clock, so it must have something to do with time or whatever. And this is some sort of like cycle and like a play button, and that looks kind of like an automatic sort of symbol. Excuse me. And that, of course, I will have a little sort of cheat sheet card on with the larger like booster, or not booster packs, but like the larger deck boxes that you can buy. And let's see, let's save those. Why is it not? There we go. Oh shoot, that's not supposed to be bolded. That was from my little earlier demonstration. Nice. Go Chin. Oh, right. So, a little explanation about this character. Chin was one of the earlier, I think, as I understand it, like he started the Qin dynasty. And he, if I am recalling correctly, is responsible for like the famous Great Wall of China, as well as the Grand Mausoleum, where all those terracotta warriors are like kept underground. And that's why his ability allows you to summon forth a terracotta warrior. And his secondary ability allows like a sort of, it's like effectively a wall for your side of the field. It's more so like an annoying kind of like quicksand type deal where it just delays the enemy. But I think that's effectively a similar type of idea of like a great wall surrounding, your territories. And yeah, of course, I might have to go back and tweak the effects. I'm a little bit on the spot here and not used to streaming So I appreciate you bearing with me on this. All one viewer. I think there's something where I could see participants. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's just me. Outstanding. Outstanding. Okay. Cool. Yes, let me just save that quick. Khan. Do I already have Genghis? Nope. All right. Genghis Khan. I always spell his name wrong. I think it's, yeah. There we go. Hope that's right. Cool. Cool, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and open up. I think next we will do the pyro units, or pyro leaders. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I have to go back to Arthur here so that I can find the right background. Red, perfect. And we're just gonna swap that out with the green background. Then we're gonna steal Nero from the back here. Will it let me? It will. Outstanding. We'll bring that forward to here. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, that looks terrible. Let's bring that up a little bit. I see what's going to happen here. Okay, so we'll have to keep that down. And will it not let me? Okay, so we can peek up into that a bit. And I believe his ability was titled Gran Fukuo? That's not right. Let me check the spelling. Oh, Fuoco. And as I understand, that is not a swear, but instead is Italian for great fire. Oh, right. Okay, let's see. So his ability used to be cannot save power tokens if selected as your active leader. Right. So we don't have that anymore. Oh, I had a card effect written down for him. This is very frustrating. I think participants may both actually stream. Ah, yes. I think you're right, Sophia. I think that is how participants work. Okay, so I guess I don't know who's viewing this until later. There's like programs I can get to help figure out, like, you know, so-and-so just subscribed to your channel, so-and-so just donated, so-and-so just made like a super chat donation, whatever. And I've invested in that really because, you know, like I'm a very casual streamer at this point. You know, maybe if my channel grows a little bit, I'll look into kind of doing some stuff like that. I mean, I already got like OBS Studio set up here, and I think that was some good progress for where I was before. If you guys have a better suggestion than OBS Studio, I'm of course open to that, but I'm kind of liking this at this time. I think I called him Tyrant Nero, right? Tyrant. Ah, yes. So apparently, like while I was doing research on what Nero actually looked like, apparently he was a blue-eyed blonde, despite, you know, being Italian. And I just totally did not have that image of him in my head. Like, I've seen a lot of paintings of him with like very dark hair, but according to my research, you know, blue-eyed blonde. So for my beautiful blonde Italian listeners / viewers right now, make of that what you will. Let's see. Jeez. You know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna have to come back to what I want to make his card effective. We're just gonna write TBD because I know that a member of the Doorkeeper team had a new idea for the Nero effect, and I, for the life of me, can't remember it right now because we talked about it months ago. So we're just gonna write that down. Yeah. And you know what? I think, let me see. Yeah. Shaka has like a weird effect too. Oh boy, you know what? I take it back, guys. We're not gonna do the pyro leaders right now. I have to consult with my team about what I want for that. Let's see, what else should we do instead? How about we do... Let's do the Mistral leaders. Why not? Yeah, my boy Leonardo da Vinci. Absolute genius. I like that. We're gonna... Go ahead and keep on there. Oh, perfect. I only have one of them. This will be a lot easier then. So we'll write Leonardo. Oh, right. So I don't want to announce who it is yet at this point in time, just because our deal hasn't been finalized. But I have worked out a tentative deal with a YouTuber who has agreed to try out Doorkeeper once everything is finished updating. And I'm really excited for that. If you guys recall from the video on my prior channel, or previous channel, I had a similar sort of situation with the TCG scrubs, and it looks like they had a really fun time playing the game, and that made me happy. Of course, that was an outdated version of the game, and they had some kind of points of criticism about how to improve the game, and I took those to heart and factored those into the updates for the game. But as I understand it, they still had a lot of fun with how that game played out. And it's just, things were just a little bit too complicated, I think, at that point. And they kind of messed up a few of the rules, which is fine, because I didn't have like a super clearly defined rule book for them, and I don't expect them to like take the time to figure out what, I don't know why I just centered it like that. How like certain cards were actually supposed to work and whatnot, right? Because like it's on me to make sure that my rules are clear enough for people to understand. So I'm a little bit disappointed, I suppose, but not in them, just more so in myself. So it looks like that gray is not as distinct as I wanted it to be, and that's going to be a problem. So I think I need to nudge him over. It's hard to center it when his design isn't centered, because otherwise I could just hit this, align center button. So I just have to kind of eyeball it. Cool. Okay, let's try. Oh, that's my problem. I have like these two different. There we go. That's better. And then how about make that a tad darker, and then this a tad. Ooh, you know what? I think that contrast might be important. Let's make that just a subtle. Oh, is that too subtle? Let's try a little bit lighter. Yeah, I think that works. We'll keep that for now. Okay. I wonder if I should put Leonardo into an archetype. I don't think I really have a lot of inventor type cards at this point, although I might later, so I'll have to think about that. So Leonardo's ability, it's called Codex Atlanticus, and if I'm recalling correctly, I think that was a book that he wrote that contained a lot of his inventions and theories. And so this old card effect read that you can half the total cost of a resource card rounded down and triple the construct capacity of your tiles. Okay, that might be a little too crazy. Let's just do I do like that half the resource cost. That's pretty cool. So let's do that. Let's say resources. Let's say resources can be played at half their cost. Let's say rounded down. We'll say half their element cost. I might have to tweak the wording on that later, because I'm thinking that like you kind of have, you know, different types of cost. Like if you have a resource card that would cost 3 Mistral and like 1 generic, you know, like how would you go about cutting that in half? Would you be like 1, maybe round it up, because if you're already paying half, round it up, there we go. Because like if it's 1 or 2 Mistral that you're gonna pay, and then like how do you half a generic token, or is that just half of like the total cost, you know? So we'll just do half the element cost for now. Maybe we'll say your, because I don't think you want your opponent to have that. Maybe you can summon for half their element cost. Okay, I think that's pretty clear. Your resources can be summoned for half their element cost rounded up. Yeah. But that still leaves a generic. Well, that's okay. We'll come back to that. And what was the other one? I think it was like, it said to triple your construct capacity on territories you control. I don't like that. That's not right. So let's delete that. And let's say you can double it. Here we go. You can play an additional construct on a row of territories that you, whoopsie. There's a very annoying lag in performance here. So I'm gonna have to, I think that's just because I have lots of things open right now. Like this program eats up a lot of CPU, and I think OBS does too. At the very least, Google Chrome does. Oh my goodness, that's infuriating. But we won't go into that rant today. You can play territories that you control. There. I like that. Okay. Let's see. So that is not a once per turn. We'll make that an auto. Okay, so we're going to be losing our one viewer. That's a bummer, but that's okay. I appreciate you showing up to our first little stream here, Sophia. And I hope you have lots of fun in your practical. I'm going to look into if I can play music while we do this, because I don't want to get into copyright issues. I actually have a copyright strike against my other channel because I accidentally used audio from like a YouTube channel that uploads, like their videos. And I don't know, I thought it said like free music, but I guess it didn't, because I have other channels I'm subscribed to that have like, you can use this music for free. And I'm like, sweet. And I guess I just didn't do that for one of my videos. So yeah, they were not happy about that. And that was an oopsie. So that's kind of not like a big reason, but it is a little bit of a reason. Oh, let's make that perfect. I was like, why is it so hard to see them? And let's leave it there. Of why I had to like kind of switch out with moving over to this new channel. I like having this new channel just because I have my other channel linked up to like my personal email, and I just wanted to sort of separate this from that, so like I wouldn't have to say like Nick Studios for my personal email, even though I hope to make this into like a personal brand, to like say, to clients like, hey, oh my, sorry, I'm getting lots of notifications on my phone about something. Just want to know what's up. Oh, neat. So, on a completely random note, has anybody heard about the G2 test results that have been done in Fermilab? I am not a quantum physicist, obviously, but I do have kind of like a hobbyist's level understanding of it. And from what I understand, they're working with like muons and sort of testing, like I think like their decay rates, and something wasn't matching up right. There's some sort of like the G2 value, as I understand it, represents something to do with like their decay, and it's supposed to be exactly 2, but there's like a little bit of a discrepancy, and there's some sort of like little bloop in like the predicted results versus test results, and everybody's kind of freaking out. They're like, holy crap, like this could be like a new particle or something. They're not super sure yet, but they have like as I understand it from the most recent test result, like a 4.2 sigma level of confidence, which is pretty significant. I think it's like a 1 in 100,000 chance that's just like a statistical error. And so it's like, 99.999 something. And they're shooting for like a 5 sigma. Because at that point, they're like, it's like a 1 in a million shot that this is just like a random thing that happened. So I'm pretty excited about their whole, about the results of this experiment to like see how this turns out. Because like, as I also understand it, these results sort of like showed up, I think over a year ago, but they've just been like analyzing the results for a while, and they haven't been, able to be like, yes, we are like super confident about this, and we're just going to go out to the public, because too often we have like news reporters who they'll say something like, we just discovered a new particle in physics that proves all of our physics up until now has been wrong. It's like, no, that's not really how these experiments tend to go. They're just trying to make sensationalized headlines. But this is really significant, depending on the accuracy of what they found. So yeah, look into Fermilab G2 experiment, because I'm sure I butchered at least half of what I just said, because I am not an expert. So please research this for yourself. This was just sort of like my passing excitement because I just found out about it. So yeah, okay. Back to work. I think our one viewer is officially gone, so we're just going to keep quiet for a little bit until someone else pops up in the chat. You know what, actually, let me just take a second here. Because I think, oh, sorry, that's going to be a little weird. Oh, there's already a like, perfect. There's 5 playbacks, that's neat. we're just going to go, whoopsie, sorry. I think I'm not super sure where my link is for this, and I feel really stupid not knowing that, but I'm sure people will find it if they're subscribed. Okay, let's get out of that. Sorry about that. Oh no, now we have the infinite regress, my OBS studio. There we go, that's better. Cool. Genius Leonardo da Vinci. That's a perfect name for him. Good job, me. I think I spelled that right. Codex Atlanticus, cool. And then, so this should be blue because Mistral falls under the blue color. Okay. And this bottom part should be blue as well. Nice. Cool. Looking good. And then let's go ahead and fix this little tab. Change the Lucent to the aqua icon. And we'll change the Umbral to the Mistral icon. Oh yeah, that was another thing. With like the new update, I switched out the like tornado-y kind of icon for this. Sort of like top view, tornado, top view, hurricane type design. And yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. I just didn't like how the outdated tornado icon looked. Let's see if it's on this card. It should be. Yeah, I didn't like that kind of spirally look. It just didn't fit well with the other icons. The advancement of all by the works of all. I like that. Let's throw in that. Well, it doesn't seem I made room for flavor text. Let's fix that. Right about there. Yeah, okay. Nice. Let's bring that up a bit. Okay. Cool. File, open. Uniques. Nope. Units. Monsters. There we go. Excuse me. Okay. And then down here, I just want to find those exact dimensions. Perfect. And then we go here. And you know what? I think that might already be down here. Oh, shoot. It's not. Okay, good. Right. And then I might have to put this above this layer. There we go. Okay. I think it's Alt hyphen, Control hyphen? Nope. File, let's go. I think it's text, and then I always forget where this is. Insert character. M dash. What was that? Alt Shift dash? Oh, that's what it was. I was close. The advanced. Wow, that is a very annoying delay. Nice. Yeah, I think it's nice to have kind of simpler card effects like this, where it's just a nice simple boost of like, you know, you can play an extra one if you want. And costs are reduced. So like, my plan for the Mistral element is to sort of be this like boost for other elements. It's kind of similar to the Volt element in that like Volt will like produce tokens to help do stuff with effects, but my plan was for Mistral to have sort of like traits and such that will help, or traits and effects to help just like help out like your allied units, because I kind of wanted blue to be like this reactionary sort of isolationist color, because like aqua is like especially like just leave us alone. They have, it's not unique to their element per se, but their element specializes in the submerge trait, which allows you, or excuse me, submerge status affliction, which allows you to like bury a unit underneath a territory card, and like you can come back later and kind of pick it up. But like it's the idea of like leave us alone, otherwise like we'll drag you down into the depths of the ocean. And that's of course horrifying. I don't know how many of you guys have a fear of the ocean. I think it's called, oh, hold on, we're just gonna look it up. Thalassophobia. There we go. But yeah, it's like thalassophobia. I'm gonna probably butcher that, but we'll just say it like that. Thalassophobia, and that like you're in very large open bodies of water, and like you're just kind of like you can't see the bottom, so like you have no idea what's down there, right? And like it's extremely difficult for us to explore the depths of our oceans because of all that water pressure. Like it's even more difficult in some ways than exploring like space around us and like going to the moon, just because like in space there's not, you know, several tons of pressure weighing down on your vehicle like there is underwater. And there's just so many like different strange creatures down there, you know, under completely different evolutionary pressures that become horrifying creatures. You know, like every once in a while we'll get like colossal squid, and it's just that'll like float up to the surface because like they died, and like you just see like these huge monstrous creatures that are living in the depths of the ocean. And yeah, that was a strange little kind of segue or digression. Digress is the verb, so I assume digression is the noun, but I don't know. And you know what? I think that's actually going to do it for today. My throat's getting a little sore, and we made some good progress. So this was a successful test run, I would say, and I appreciate anybody who's watching this live. Doesn't look like anybody's watching it live, but for those of you who come back later and check it out, thanks for watching, especially up to this point, because I know this is a very long video at this point. But yeah, thanks for entering the door to adventure.